Spoilers. I'm going to spoil this book mercilessly, so if you don't want to hear all about it and what's happening in the book, don't watch this. Turn the video off, okay? Alright, I want to know what the hell I just read. I am so pissed off after reading this book. Made me so mad. Okay, I've wanted to read this book ever since I saw it as a selection in Book of the Month Club, but there were other books that I wanted ahead of this one. So when I found that it was available for like dirt cheap as an ebook, I got it. And I've been hearing good reviews about it and good things about it recently. So I'm like, I'm going to read it. Why not? I'm kind of like, I have a might be read list, and a lot of those books have kind of gone by the wayside because of other things I've wanted to read. And I'm sorry that I took the time to read this instead of reading some of the other books on my list. I mean, it has a great premise. I read the blurbs and everything, and I thought, that sounds like something I would like. It's a series. This is book 1. Book 2 is out now, called Waking Giants or some nonsense like that. And when I first started reading this, I was like, oh, I want to get that sequel. I really like it. When I started reading this, I thought this was a really good book that I was going to enjoy. But I don't know what the heck the author was thinking and why the author turned around and went the way that he did. But no, I do not recommend this book. I think this book is a piece of garbage, to be honest with you, and I'm not going to waste my money on the sequel. Now, if you were one of the people that loved this book, that's great. I'm glad that you loved it, and this is nothing against you, but I freaking hated this garbage. I mean, it was good, and it wasted all my time. It strung me along, promising a really, really good story, and then boom, it went into Suckville real fast. First of all, problem number 1, and this isn't even the main problem. I could have got through this, but hear me out. This is all told through interviews, okay? And the one guy in this that I absolutely hated the whole way through, he's nameless, okay? But he's obviously some powerful person that controls everybody and everything and, thinks that he's God, okay? He talks like in paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs in these interviews, because this is all interviews. Who the hell talks like that? It was ridiculous. I felt like he was such a cliche, okay? But a cliche that I don't like. First, let me give you a little bit of background about what the book is about so that you can understand my rant. In fact, I'm going to give a lot of spoilers. Basically, what this is about is that they find a hand. This girl falls into the ground, and she ends up on this gigantic hand. And that's what starts it all. And she's brilliant, and she goes through school, and she ends up becoming in charge of this project of unearthing all these pieces that are supposed to be part of this gigantic robot. And she's like a pretty important character all the way through, and then the author, boom, just kills her off for no reason. Just kills her right off. Well, and then there's characters that he starts out wanting you to care about, and goes on and on about the person, and then just turns right around and just like throws that person into the trash. Like, why did I have to read about the romance between this hard-ass army bitch, okay? Why did I have to read about her romance with him if the author was just going to, like, all of a sudden turn his personality on a dime and just get rid of him? Made no sense. He brought in a totally minor character, and then all of a sudden that character is now her love interest, and the other guy is the bad guy. And I didn't like that. I forget which tag it was, but there was a tag where I had to say, I think it was the unpopular opinion romance tag, to be honest with you. Was there a love triangle where you wanted the person to get with another person? And I was like, well, no, I haven't really come across that yet. Now I have. I did not like who the woman in here ended up with. First of all, I didn't like her as a lead character at all. It should have been the one who had fallen on the hand. She was nicer. She was more likable. Okay? This person, no. Just no. Okay? I didn't want her to end up with the person she ended up with. Okay? He was a douche. She was a dickweed. Okay? And then this poor man, the author just decides to just like make him do something that like doesn't really make any sense. Like he's, you know, he's intelligent, he's strong, he's put together, and then all of a sudden he just goes nuts over his love for her. I mean, really? That is so sickening to me. I wanted to read a science fiction. I didn't want to read a dang romance. So, she's supposed to be all tough and everything, but then at the end they make her totally vulnerable. Just completely vulnerable. She's talking like somebody out of a romance. A Harlequin or Silhouette romance. But yet, the author tried really hard. Oh, look, you're going to like this woman. We're throwing her in here. She's a tough cookie. She's tough. She doesn't take crap, and she's strong. And why do male authors think that just because they make, and I notice this even in Hollywood and movies, they think just because they make a woman a royal bitch, that she's this tough, likable person that females can relate to. I thought that her choice of who to be romantic with was dumb. I felt like she used the first guy, okay? And I feel like the author made him do something despicable just to have a reason to get rid of him, because the author was like, oh, I've written myself into a hole that I can't get out of. And, you know, the thing that the guy did to change the dynamics, okay, his name was Vincent. Vincent is the douchebag. The thing that he did was just such a dick move and just so stupid. And yet the author wants you to think he's this like super intelligent guy. So, and I didn't, and they never explained, like, he put this helmet on his head that's inside this big gigantic robot. And so the helmet kind of like melded to his mind, and it became like he was the only one that could work the controls. But why? Unless I'm mistaken, the other guy wore the hat first. So now all of a sudden he puts the hat on. I might be mistaken about that. But all of a sudden this dickweed puts this helmet on, and now it goes with him. He's the controller now, so he gets to be with this woman like all the time, 24 hours, trying to work this robot and this machine, and they're thrown together. Yet nobody else could wear her helmet, and they never explained that. And even if I misunderstood, even if that other guy somehow never even did put that helmet on before, he sure didn't make that clear. Why did he wait until then? I think I'm right. I think that the author just decided to switch who was wearing the helmet on a dime. And not only that, but at the end, they pull this guy is pulled out, he rescues them, he, you know, does things for his country that are admirable, he saves people, and yet the stupid guy who I hate that thinks he's God throws him back in prison to rot. He says he's just going to thank him for what he did and throws him back into prison to rot. And this bitch and her new man don't even care about that. They don't even care that this guy, I mean, they wouldn't even be alive probably. They'd still be in a horrible situation if it wasn't for this guy, who his name is Ryan Mitchell. So, and God, made me sick. And then another thing that made me sick was, why do authors and people that like write in Hollywood think that it's okay to kill people as long as the main character gets what they want? I don't get that. You know, that's what I hated about The Blacklist. I quit watching The Blacklist. Raymond Reddington is a bad guy. He's a horrible person. And they keep justifying everything that he does. And I got sick of it and I quit watching it. And this guy in here, he's so condescending. He has all this power. He threatens people. He does horrible things to people. But yet, I can tell the author's justifying it. He's saying that the end justifies the means. Like, it's okay for innocent people to die just as long as this man has a righteous idea about what's going to happen in the end. I'm sorry, but I don't subscribe to that way of thinking. Okay? This guy was an asshole. I hated him. I wanted him to, like, die. I seriously wanted him to die. He brought out such anger and emotions in me. But yet, the author tries to manipulate you and make you like him. Like, oh, he's just doing this for the good of the people. No, he was doing it for himself. When I think about the things that he did to innocent people in here just for the good of, I don't know, it seemed like he only cared about the pilots for the time being in the robot. And he didn't care about anybody else. And then at the end, there's this like stupid, corny, asinine banter between this big, intimidating, controlling guy and Kara Resnick, the woman who's supposed to be such a tough army bitch, that is just so stupid. I mean, really, really inane. Oh, I knew you were a softy at heart, to that guy. He killed people. He ruined people's lives. But, oh, okay, I get it. Since the main characters were his favorites, then we have to agree with whatever he's done. We have to think that he's a good guy. That he really just wanted the best. All he does is shitty things to people in this book. And we're supposed to like him? He's a good guy. And then they throw in this story that, you know, I'm all for surprise endings, but just the way he fits in this woman who out of nowhere becomes this evil woman, this evil doctor who likes to use test subjects for her own agenda. Out of nowhere. She's a minor character, then boom, out of nowhere, she's just this evil. I felt like this author changed his mind as he went along. It wasn't just like he was trying to like thrill us and surprise us. I just think he changed his mind and he kept going. And I'm sorry, I just don't believe, I'm guessing from what I see in the news and what I hear people say and everything, that a lot of people out there feel like, you know, be out for yourself. Things are justified. It doesn't matter if they're innocent. It doesn't matter if they're hurt. We can justify it. How many? I can't even count how many movies that I've seen where you're supposed to just accept what the person has done just because they're the hero of the movie. You're supposed to make excuses for them and excuse it. Okay, so, you know, look. I liked it at first, but then when the author, it wasn't even halfway through. It was like the last 20 pages that this author made me hate this book. It was really good. And then boom, just things that made no sense at all, that didn't even go along with the plot or where he was going. And then on the very last page, the epilogue, he's all of a sudden trying to brainwash an innocent person. He had an innocent person kidnapped and gave her surgery while she was unconscious so that she would look like the woman that got killed, who was supposed to be the main character in the first place. The likable scientist who as a girl had fallen in on this hand and discovered the whole thing. He kills her off, but at the end all of a sudden he's going to convince somebody that she is Rose Franklin. WTF, people. WTF. Now, if you like this book, that's great. But to me, this freaking sucked. And what's tragic about this, and what makes me so angry, is that it was such a good book. The author ruined it. The author freaking ruined it. And those of you that love the book, I would like to, I'd like to hear you justify how that asshole is such a good guy with a mushy heart, like this character says at the end. So, I could go on and on about this, trust me, and it's not nice things to say. So, I'm about to do something really, really rude, so if you have kids in the room, you might want to take them away from the screen right now, okay? I give this book the finger. 2 fingers.